In a world where one has places to go, people to see, and money to make, how does one find time to get everything done? See, this is the Hustle for Show, and my name is Ryan Vernon. And even though I don't have my dictionary with me at this very moment, let me pull out a definition for you. Shout out to technology and having the ability to take a picture. Yet on July 15th, 2021, because we write dates next to words to make sure we keep a timestamp when we looked up a word, we look up the word engineering. And engineering, the same word has two definitions. So the first one, a member of a military unit specializing in engineering work. 2, a designer or builder of engines. 3, one trained in engineering. 4, one that operates an engine. And the second definition for engineering, to lay out or manage as an engineer, to guide the course of. And a little example is that engineer rally. And to give a definition of engineering, because we looked it up on the same day when we looked up engineering. We looked up engineering the same day we looked up engineer. The practical application of scientific and mathematical principles. I don't even know how to talk about that one E, the ego, because when we now look at the Hustle for Show, we look at engineering, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and that last E we'll call ego. I don't know how to talk about the ego unless I talk about myself. And part of talking about myself is now talking about engineering. One thing I learned throughout my time in engineering, so let's say college to now, is the idea that it matters not what you're going through at all in your life. Literally, don't even look at your life as like an individual. As long as you're getting work done, that's what matters at the end of the day. That was a hard lesson to learn. Doesn't matter who you are as a person, as long as you get work done at the end of the day, that's what it takes to be an engineer, at least working for someone else. One thing I had to learn through my time in engineering is the idea that at the end of the day, all engineering is problem solving. What if there was a problem handed to you, and are you able to solve it? One thing that got me into engineering was literally just looking up and seeing a plane flying overhead. The idea of seeing a plane fly in when I was on my way to school and being like, that's kind of cool. I'm good in math and science. I want to do that. Yet a lot of things now when it comes to engineering, depending on your background and what are you exposed to. Because I had that opportunity to be exposed to planes flying overhead because of the city that I'm from. Yet throughout my time in engineering, I graduated in mechanical engineering, started off with aerospace and mechanical, dropped aerospace, yet throughout my time in engineering, when I had aerospace major as well, it was the idea of me wanting to work with something that I had no clue what I was even working on. So towards the end of this video, I will go ahead and show a picture of a plane, and you get to see the wing and how different mechanical functions on the wings are in action. You get to see the flaps move, the ailerons, I think I'm saying it right, but you get to just see how different flaps on the wings form, and through those different flaps forming, you get different lift profiles. I was taking the aerodynamics class of flights, and it was intriguing, yet concepts were going over my head because I just had no clue on even how to bring it into the real world. One clip that I'm glad I got, I remember I was in my class. The professor said, if you could see on the wingtips of a plane, sometimes you see eddy currents forming on the wingtip of the plane, and through science and through math, it makes sense why those eddy currents would form at the end of the wings. Again, in a world where a lot of engineering topics went over my head just because I just didn't have a real world example to bring it to, being able to now see and being like, wow, that's what we were talking about in our class. It kind of gives you a better understanding of what is happening in the real world to now make real world applications a problem. Because engineering is something I see that is not so much that is hard. It's just what are you exposed to? That's how I see engineering. Coming from a background of at least working in corporate America, the idea of doing plumbing design, mechanical design, it was a brand new world when I stepped into it, yet when you work with the idea of grabbing your degree from undergraduate, you learn how to problem solve. Stepping into that new field, it was just like, this is new to me, but yet you become adaptable to any situation to where it's like, this work is not difficult because I was now exposed to a new scene. Now you just got to produce work. As I travel along engineering, I'm only able to tell as much as I learn. As I travel through engineering, I'm only able to now develop my language to make sure I could relay what I see to someone who may not have seen engineering like an older me. I don't know how to talk about myself unless I talk about me. So in order to help someone who's going through engineering, who may not have been exposed to engineering things, let me put in the description just some things that helped me along in engineering. Some resources like maybe some online calculators, some online, tutoring resources, and maybe some YouTube channels that you could check out to just give you a different perspective on things that are happening in engineering. Because maybe engineering is not hard, it's just what are you exposed to? Even the idea of sociology now. Don't want to go into deep, but how do you social engineer people to perform in different ways throughout society? Things like Facebook, Instagram, things like that. How do people now move through their phones? Things like that. Sheesh, the bugs are attacking. I got places to go, people to see, and money to make, and hopefully not to be attacked by these insects. But at the end of the day, remember, keep hustling, y'all. Keep hustling. Peace.
You are now. Welcome to Burbank. Let's be the first ones to welcome to Burbank. You guys enter your seat with the seatbelt fastened, seat backs and tray tables in full upright lock position. Make sure this carrying item is completely underneath the seat, but not here. When the captain does release that fasten seatbelt sign, please be careful to open those overhead bins. Items may have shifted and could fall out. And if we continue on to another Southwest Airlines flight here in Burbank, make sure you check those TVs in the terminal for your flight and gate number.